Hi and welcome to another episode of The Buzz here from Abington High School. My name is Shawn Reilly and I'm your host of this show, where we try to bring you up to date on the goings-on inside the hallowed halls of Abington High and also out on the basketball courts, the playing fields, the hockey rinks, everything about Abington High School athletics. Always a lot going on, always a lot of fun, always a lot of exciting individual and team performances. And we're about halfway through the fall season here in 2024. And my first guest for our first segment here tonight is our esteemed athletic director, Peter Serino. Welcome aboard, Peter.
Thanks for having me, Shawn, and thanks for all the work you do on this show and everything else.
Well, it's a great crew here at Abington Cam, and we are happy to bring it to the folks at home. But Peter, we wanted to ask you if you could help us just give us a little glossy summary of what's been going on with Abington sports. We got a lot of teams out there with cross country, golf, boys and girls soccer. We've got volleyball, cheer, and football all out there really lighting up and just having a lot of fun this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have a lot of kids participating, which is a great sign. About half of our student population is playing a sport this fall, wow. Which is great. So it's over 250 kids are out there playing the variety of sports that you just mentioned, competing at various levels from varsity all the way down to we do have a couple freshman teams, which is great to see. And in general, we compete in the South Shore League, and then hopefully get to the state tournament, and we'll compete mostly at the Division IV level for most of our sports. But so far, so good. We're off to a good start. A lot of kids participating, and a couple of teams in particular are really excelling.
Yeah, and we've had some great growth in some of the programs. I mean, the one indoor sport for the fall is volleyball with Coach Tom Carey. That is getting more numbers, and numbers are really chipping in. That's a building sport for us, and they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Volleyball is one of our newer programs. It's less than 10 years old at the varsity level. And the unique thing with volleyball is there's no feeder program. So, right. We have youth soccer, youth football kind of feeding into this. So a lot of girls get to high school and they play volleyball for the first time. So it's great to see. Volleyball is actually the only cut sport we have in the fall. So we had so many girls interested, more girls than spots available. You hate to see girls who want to play a sport not be able to, but it's also great to see the interest there. And we're excited this year. We have two new sub-varsity coaches, both of whom have playing experience not only at the high school level, but at the collegiate level. So Ashley Trudeau, who's an elementary teacher at Beaver Brook, played at Framingham State. So she's our freshman coach. And then our JV coach is Katie Barlow, who's from Abington and actually played at Bryant University. So having the two of them with experience playing at a high level to be able to teach the game is great. And there's a lot of teaching. It's not gym class volleyball, as a lot of us think back, understanding the rotations, the rules, and so forth. So it's a big learning curve for the girls when they get here. But the program is thriving with a number of girls playing, and hopefully they'll continue to trend upward.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to two of our teams that play outdoors, and all of us have been very fortunate. We had a month of September with basically no rain, so we had a lot of great weather, and so that always bodes well, especially for our golf team and our cross-country team. And they've been out there, and unfortunately, they don't get the camera work, that we can't cover them on cable TV because of the type of sports they're out. We can't get on 18 holes, and we can't follow them through their paths. But they're doing great, representing the school well.
Yeah, absolutely. The golf team was our first team to get going, just how the schedule works, and their season wraps up the earliest with losing daylight and the weather and so forth. But they had a great start. They're an entirely new team. So there's really only one player with any varsity experience. We were a senior heavy team last year that won the league title. So a lot of new players, be it freshmen or kids that have never competed at the varsity level, are in there competing. They had a good start. They won a couple matches, and they're kind of learning the ins and outs of playing varsity golf, traveling to different courses and understanding the layouts there. But they've been very competitive even in some of their losses, and it's been a great experience for the younger kids to jump up and play and compete at a higher level.
It's a great sport to learn at a young age because you can play it through many, many decades of life there.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate to have the partnership we have with Strawberry Valley, the golf course. Our kids most days are out on the course. We also have a JV golf team, so we have close to 20 kids that are participating in the golf program, which is exciting. And thanks to the Green Wave Boosters, we also have a simulator here at the high school for the rare rainy day this fall, but also days where there's a league or something we can't get out on the course. The kids can still get in. They can go to the simulator here at the high school and get some swings in and work on their game with Coach Scott and Coach Hendrickson.
And then just going down the list, we got girls soccer and boys soccer, cheer. They're all out there. And just, again, I know boys soccer just took on an undefeated Rockland team, a very powerful Rockland team, and I think it was a draw, if I understand.
I know they won 1-0.
Ah, see, even better news.
Yeah, the boys soccer team has started great. They've really trended up the past few years. Coach Brian Claus, since he came on board, has really ingrained a true soccer culture into it, and our numbers are exploding. We field 2 solid levels, varsity and JV, without the use of 8th graders on the boys' side. And not too long ago, we were struggling to field a JV team using 8th graders. So now it's just 9 through 12, and we have the 2 teams, and the program's grown. They've made the tournament a couple years in a row, won tournament games, and that's kind of become the standard. And if you go back, prior to this run, it was really 2 tournament appearances this century. So now it's kind of just that's the expectation, and they're competing for league titles. Their only loss so far was a 1-goal loss at Cohasset to a perennial state title contender. So the kids have put in a lot of work in the offseason, and it's showing off early. And the girls soccer team as well is off to a solid start. They're 3-4-1, so right around that 500 mark. They played some tough competition. The South Shore League in girls soccer is one of the tougher leagues around, with your Norwells and Cohassets. There's always state title contenders in there, and being one of the in the smaller half of the league, it's definitely tough competition, but it's good, and they've integrated a number of younger players as well, and they've been competitive.
Well, I think really the town's investment in the 2 synthetic fields up here at Abington High School has really paid dividends, especially the soccer programs where we can have girls and boys practicing at the same time instead of trying to split the day in half, and you see both programs doing well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the turf fields, because I don't think it's a coincidence that our soccer programs have kind of elevated their level of play since we've had them. Kids can play soccer 365 days a year in Abington, which before the turf fields, that was not the case. You couldn't really do anything in the winter months, and even the spring, it'd be tough just with the surface. And now, literally any day you want, you can come up and play soccer, and our kids are doing that. Throughout the whole summer, you see our boys soccer team up here playing small-sided games, doing different things, and it's really paid off for them, and then also for the youth. They're able to practice every night under the lights. Before we had those turf fields, once we got to this time of the year, it was really difficult for the youth programs to continue to practice. So the fact that we have them is great.
And then we have following up with the football team, something that I'm involved with too. They've had a really great start to an exciting 2024 season. They started game 1 playing at Duxbury against a Super Bowl champion. It was 2 divisions above us, and it was a great game. It's an exciting game. Duxbury won in the end, but they didn't end up on ESPN. Abington Green Wave. Tell us that story there.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks to the crew here at Abington Cam. A junior on our team, Ryan Solomini, made an outstanding catch in the end zone. And, before we even left Duxbury High School, I think, Abington Cam had the clip cut up. It was out on socials. And, they got in touch with the folks at Sports Center, and it was the number 5 play on Sports Center, which is really cool in and of itself.
Yeah.
If the story stopped there, it would be great. But because of that coverage and, again, the great work that, Kevin Tachi, Matt Nelson, and the whole crew here at Abington Cam does, they continued to promote it, and the NFL actually picked it up. And it was highlighted on the NFL Network as their play of the week across the country. And that one, again, the publicity is great and everything, but with it came a $3,000 equipment grant from Rydell. So we were able to take advantage of that, and we're going to have some new helmets and shoulder pads coming. Thanks to Ryan's great catch, first and foremost, but also I think it speaks to what the crew here does at Abington Cam. Literally, without their work, number one, the cameraman capturing it, which was difficult, and then all of their promotion of it. The town of Abington's benefiting with, $3,000 worth of football equipment, which is great.
So to that we thank Kevin Tocci and Matt Nelson and Matt Lyons and the Postman, you know who you are, for all that coverage. It's fun, and it is great to be able to showcase an Abington High School student when those opportunities arise. And the fact that we're able to invest in some more safety equipment is just a plus. So that's outstanding. We're getting closer now to the end of each season here, or in this fall season. Explain to viewers at home real quick about the power ratings. How do you get into the postseason? How do you get ranked?
Yep, so all of our team sports that include rankings, so football, boys and girls soccer, and volleyball, there's a power rating system that the MIA instituted about 3 years ago, and it takes into account the strength of your schedule and your record and ultimately your margin of victory. So based off of that, they determine a ranking. It's a mathematical formula, and the top 32 teams in each division automatically qualify. Football's a little bit different. Football's only 16 teams. But for soccer and volleyball, if our team makes the top 32 in Division 4, we will end up in the tournament. You could also end up in the tournament if you're 500. So if your record is 500 and you're below 32, you would automatically get in as well. Again, football is the exception. Golf and cross country and cheerleading are a little bit different. The individual sports, so cheerleading will compete at our league competition. Cheerleading, just on an aside, we have almost 30 girls participating in cheerleading. We have one boy, so we'll compete in the co-ed division again this year. We've been a very strong competitive program. They haven't started their competition season yet. That ramps up in a couple of weeks, but we're excited to see what they do. So if they earn a qualifying score at the South Shore League meet, which is hosted here in Abington on Monday, November 4th, they'll advance to regionals and then hopefully advance to states after that. Cross country, again, a little bit different. They've had a really strong start to their season. Our numbers are up. We have more kids participating, which has led to more success. So both the boys and girls teams do have a chance to compete for the South Shore League Tobin Division Championship, which is great. So their meets will have a little added excitement over the next few weeks, and they'll run at the sectional meet, the state sectional meet at the Rentham Development Center in early November, and then based off of the results there, the team or individual students could advance to the all-state meet. And golf, if they go 500, they do qualify.
You are just a wealth of information, Mr. Serino. I appreciate it. Before you go, I just wanted to bring up something that's near and dear to both of our hearts, the project down at Memorial Field. You and I have been working on this for a long time, and it's now in the process. A lot of upgrades to Memorial Field, which is a dedicated memorial to the veterans of Abington. And why don't you take it away? We just finished phase 1, which was the installation of the lights.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, this started a long time ago. Memorial Field, I think, or I know, is one of the more unique facilities in Massachusetts. And it was a little tired. It needed some updating and some revitalizing. So a lot of time and work and thought went into, what needs to be addressed and what makes sense financially and how to go about doing it. So we went through the Community Preservation Act. We secured some funding. So as you mentioned, the first phase of this update was the lighting. So the lights at Memorial Field were tired. They were old metal haloid lights from the early 1990s, and updating and replacing the fixtures when they went was becoming challenging because they're simply not made anymore.
Right.
Obviously not very energy efficient. So we were at a point where we either needed to update the old stuff with old parts, knowing that we'd continue to face similar challenges, or to replace the lights. So through the funding of the Community Preservation Act, we have all new LED lights that are up and running. And the really great thing about this is the 2 light towers on the visitor sideline, we put lights on the back. So the old Dust Bowl area, the practice area, that's another lighted field. So actually this week is usually when the youth groups start to lose practice time because a lot of the coaches are volunteers, parents who work, and they can't really start practice much before 5 because of that, and now it's getting dark at 6, and it'll just get closer. So going forward, starting in the spring, we're going to have another field that will be lit for people to play.
So they can extends another hour or two of practice time if they want, and won't be lit up like the whole football field, but enough that it's safe out there to practice, which would be great. And it'll be all sod, and it'll be irrigated, so it'll be an expanded area. It's also going to benefit things like when we have the fireworks down there for some of the town events, and I'm sure this is going to bring more and more investment down there. And I want to send a shout out again to the Community Preservation Act, the Community Preservation Committee, and the town manager, Scott Lambiase. We put a lot of federal funds and the CPA funds into a lot of our town, recreationally specific. In the last just couple of years, we put in the new synthetic turf fields for soccer, so they get new soccer fields, lacrosse fields. We did the new varsity baseball diamond had to be redone. That was done with federal money from the ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan. We did the softball field get redone with new dugouts, new scoreboard for softball, new scoreboard for football, the new lights. The only field we actually haven't touched is the football field itself, so that's kind of next to come perhaps. But a lot of great improvements, and all the playgrounds have been redone from the Community Preservation Act.
And I know that list seemed long, but you forgot about the track. We also resurfaced the track up at Reilly Field. So literally every high school team that plays on campus, we've done an upgrade. In cross country, we also have a new course for them that required some work. It's more of a true cross country course. So, I mean, as you mentioned, football, the football facility really is the last of our facilities to receive a significant upgrade. So it's great to see, and hopefully people can come out, on Friday nights, or we have a couple Thursday nights this fall to check out a game, to see the lights, hear the new sound system. We're really fortunate that the town made this investment. Previously, pretty much everything that we had down there was the result of volunteers at different times, and it was kind of a patchwork over the past 20 or 30 years, and it was great. But now, with this investment through the Community Preservation Act, everything's going to be updated and modernized. So, the work's still continuing throughout this fall, but I think it's going to be very noticeable to people who come.
You're right, and that's important to note. Down at Memorial Field in 1990, those lights went in with donated funds from residents and businesses. The sound system was donated in 2007 by a resident. Even the press box improvements were donated by a local company, and even the concession stand was donated by the Rotary Club and some other businesses. So all of that stuff was invested by the residences, and we'd love to do more now. We always talk about trying to get a public restroom down there. And if there's people out there who want to get together a fundraiser and lend a hand, we would love to work with you to make that happen, because that's the next step that we'd also like to take. Peter, I know you got to get rolling, but before you go, our next guest in the second half is a guy that's very special to the Abington athletic community, Bill Marquardt. What do you want to say about Bill?
So Bill Marquardt, I think, is Abington. I think he kind of speaks to this community. There's so many people that give their time for the kids, and I'm fortunate I get to see a lot of it with athletics. But Bill kind of stands out. So I didn't know Bill. My first year as athletic director, I received an unsolicited email from what I thought was some random guy who was just trying to get on the sidelines at Gillette Stadium. The football team was in the Super Bowl, and here's somebody I never knew, never heard of. Just get an email, hey, can I be on the sideline with your team to take some pictures? And at the time, we had a volunteer who had kind of been chronicling the team for the past few years, and we only had one photographer pass, so they got it. Bill, who I know well now, sent me a link to his work after that game. He still came and shot it from the stands and got remarkable photographs. And I know you'll get more into Bill's story with him, but at the time, he was still working full-time, and he managed to get to football games, and then parents were like, oh, this is great. I wish he could get to other sports. And he said, well, all right, I'm going to do the best that I can. Even though he was working, made time to try and get to each sport each season. And essentially, we have a full-time professional photographer on staff who edits pictures and puts them up on the website, all for free. Colleges are envious of having the setup that we have, and Bill just does it because he's a great guy, and we've been extremely fortunate for I guess almost a full decade now to have Bill chronicling and capturing some important moments for our kids and families.
Everything you said is 100% true, and Bill has been just wonderful for all the families and fans of Abington sports. And you're going to get a chance to meet the man behind the lens in our second segment, because Bill Marquardt has accepted our invitation to sit down and talk to us about why he loves doing what he does, and we want to tell him why we love doing what he does. So, Peter, thank you for joining us in this first half. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Bill Marquardt, the official photographer of Abington Green Wave Sports, in just a minute.
He's in the family there. Number 5, Massachusetts high school football. Check out Abington in white. Ryan Solomini. The TD grab. What a catch by the junior. But Abington would lose to Duxbury 38-20.
All right, welcome back to The Buzz. And if you've been at any Abington Green Wave game, on the sidelines, in the crowd, on the field, you see this handsome bald guy walking around with a really nice camera taking photos sometime during the last 10 years. And that gentleman's name is Bill Marquardt. He's known by every single Abington High School athlete and athletes from other towns, because Bill has been donating his time to the Abington High School Athletic Department and all the sports teams to chronicle some of the most fantastic plays and celebrations and game just shots for Abington High School. And we're thrilled to have Bill with us today here on set. Bill, welcome aboard to The Buzz.
Thank you very much, Sean. Pleasure.
Tell me, how did you get started, or when did you get started doing Abington Green Wave Sports?
Well, I had always been interested in taking photos, and I was pretty much convinced I was the world's worst photographer.
Yeah.
Then I accidentally took a nice photo. I said, I got to learn how to do that. I want to take more of those. And one thing led to another, and I had issues with working too much. I would just sit at my desk 12, 14 hours a day.
What were you doing?
I was a communications engineer for Fidelity Investments.
Okay.
And it was a long hour job, a lot of night work and stuff, weekends. But I had to get out from behind the desk because I weighed 300 pounds. I would sit there and I'd snack. So I bought a nice camera and I started going out walking. And that was fun. I did the nature photography and it just came naturally to me. I loved doing it. And then one day my boss said to me, he goes, with the way you love sports, why don't you take some sports photos? It's like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Within an hour, I was at a Silver Lake against Hanover game. I shot that. Then later that night, Abington was playing Duxbury. That was in 2014.
Yep.
And I went down, I just stood in the stands, and I took some pictures. I had a lot of fun doing it. After that game, I started going to some other local games, Pembroke, Cardinal Spellman, just some different games just to get out again. And I had so much fun. I had sent the link to the photos to the different athletic directors, never heard back from anybody, until I sent an email to Peter Serino here at Abington.
Yep.
And right away, I get a response from Peter saying, hey, these are fantastic, thank you. So we kind of started talking back and forth about it after that. And again, that was in 2014. But you already had a photographer, and so you didn't really need me to go to the Super Bowl. But that was fine. I just kept up a correspondence with Peter at that point. And I started going to more games on my own, and he just started saying, well, we have more sports, Bill.
Yeah, right.
Why don't you come to some more games?
Spread your wings.
Yeah. And I just fell in love with it. The kids are great. The parents have been fantastic. It was a way for me to get out, be more active. Sitting at my desk was great. It paid the bills and everything, but I needed to get out.
And you're retired now.
Now I'm retired, yeah. About 3.5 years.
Which, something that will surprise probably a lot of people in Abington, you don't live in Abington.
No, actually I don't. Every game's a road game for me.
And are you an Abington High School graduate?
I graduated from Abington in 1979.
All right, so that's your attachment, but
Yes.
you came back to the motherland to help with your photography.
Absolutely.
And you've got some of the best views of some incredible games. You've been in some great
yes.
venues. I mean, you've been, in Boston Garden, Gillette Stadium.
Fenway Park.
Fenway Park.
Yeah. We were actually with the girls softball team from 2018.
Yeah.
They were invited to go out on the field pre-game. They brought all the state championship teams out there. So I went out there with them, took pictures of them all up against the green monster. We weren't allowed to touch the grass, but we could stay on the warning track, and I took pictures for them there. They had a blast.
So it's got some perks to it.
It does.
And for 10 years, you've been a volunteer, 100%.
Correct.
And all of these photos you take, you post on your website, which is?
C6billphoto.com.
C6billphoto.com, that anybody can log on to.
Oh, yeah.
And you have all of these photos of different, you have some sports photos, you have nature photos, all sorts of things that anybody can download at what cost?
Yeah. There's no cost.
Free.
Yes, I want all these kids and their parents to download the photos.
Yeah.
Save them. Keep these memories. I'm not going to be here forever. Now, I have like, I think one picture of me in a football uniform from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's all that existed. These kids have, in some cases, they'll have hundreds of pictures of themselves playing these sports. Save them, show them to your grandkids in 40 years.
It's unbelievable shots, Bill. Some just unbelievable shots that just kind of capture the essence of the moment. I mean, from the celebrations at Boston Garden, from Abington High School basketball, to being in Gillette Stadium, for, like you just mentioned, the girls softball state championship. And sometimes it's just a league game at the high school. Yep. And you get a great shot of a kid just making this great diving play or a catch or scoring a goal, or just the view on the kid's face after and a great play.
It's really funny. I know you and Peter were just talking about the catch that Ryan made.
Yeah.
And it was, nobody talked about the beautiful pass.
Ryan Solomini.
Yep.
Yep.
Michael's perfect pass to him in the corner. I had the best seat in the house. My problem was I was too close. So all I have is a close-up of Ryan's face, and you can see like half of the ball as he's catching it.
It's unreal.
I was too close. I always have the best seat in the house for all of these games, and that's because of the access Peter's given me. Peter's been great to work with.
And what's your relationship with the student athletes? I mean, they appreciate you being there.
I love these kids. They're amazing. I think I have a special relationship with the softball team. I started following them right at the beginning and started going to road games with them too. It's just so much fun. They are so expressive the way they love the game. I just love taking those photos. Softball is a fast sport in a small space, but it's a big ball, so even I can see it.
Yep.
I typically wear glasses like when I drive, but I can't when I'm shooting because it just doesn't work for me. I love shooting softball because I can always follow it. I've never got hit by a line drive or anything, which is good. I have been hit at baseball. I've been run over on the sideline at football games just once. And of course, I was in a Super Bowl and it was caught on TV. Thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, appreciate that one. That was by a ref, not a player. And the ref had no business being where he was. But I can blame Peter for that anyways because he was distracting me. It was okay. Our wonderful trainer, Alicia Reed, she super glued my lip back together so I could finish the game.
Really?
Yeah, that was very nice. She's wonderful. You should have her on someday.
We have had her on,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
She is a
Never mind
great
then.
person to talk to, and I'm sure we'll have her on again. Now, tell me about the intricacies of being a photographer, because you've got indoor events in a gym with a certain type of lighting, you've got outdoor events during the afternoon, and you have outdoor events at nighttime under lights. I mean, you have to adjust to all these things.
You need different equipment for the different venues. Some have great lights, some don't have great lights. Just, I know you and Peter were just speaking about it, but the lights we have at the field now, oh, they make my life so much easier. Those old lights, I was adjusting my settings and my equipment from year to year as they were getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't want to tap on it.
1990, they were put in, the original lights.
I was coaching youth football at the time.
Yeah.
When those were put in.
My father was in charge of that project, and now I'm in charge of this project. So that's how long it's been.
Your father being Jack Reilly.
Right.
I won the Jack Reilly Award in Abington Little League in 1974.
See, I knew there was a connection to us.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's so funny. I told your nephew, Jack, about that.
Yep. Now, in addition to all the Abington High School sports things you do, I mean, from soccer to football to volleyball to basketball to baseball, all those things you do.
Yeah.
What other photography do you like to enjoy doing?
Nature photography.
Yeah.
I enjoy that because I can get up, even when I was working, I could get up before the sun came up, be out there. I could walk 4 or 5 miles in the morning, take some pictures, and then go to work. Sit down and start doing conference calls. Maybe edit some photos during conference calls. Nobody noticed. That's the part about the photography people don't realize. These photos just don't come out of the camera and jump up on the website.
Yeah.
There's editing involved, and it's usually because of the lights you were mentioning.
So at a typical game, how many photos are you actually taking?
10 years ago, I would take a lot of photos.
What's a lot?
I would take maybe 700 to 1,000 photos of a game.
Wow.
And I would end up with 60 or 70 at the end. Now, a typical football game, I'll take 125, 130 photos, and I'll end up with 100 keepers.
Really? Because you've just improved your game so much, huh?
Yeah, quite a bit. And
great.
improved my equipment too, which, you know, it is what it is. I don't mind spending the money on it.
It's
fun.
Is there a sport or type of event that you enjoy more than the? I know you have a bond with the softball team, but are they
Football.
all kind of football?
Oh yeah, it's always been football for me. Yeah, I got a football. Yeah. Yeah, that's the sport I've been following since I was probably 8 years old.
Yeah.
I love football. I loved playing it. I loved coaching it. I love photographing it. It's just a great game.
It's been amazing, again, some of the shots you catch, but the other thing that it does, not only are these free keepsakes for all these families that they download it from your website, c6billphoto.com, but there's also another gentleman in town who volunteers his services called Brian Magararu. He's the one that does all the graphics that you see on social media for Abington High School when Peter Serino, athletic director, promotes the different schedules or games or whatever, playoffs, and with all the fancy graphics. But every single photo that's in that graphic and every single face of a student athlete is from you, Bill Marquardt.
Right.
So we are blessed that both of you guys are working, donating your services for the school, the town of Abington. And you got a good thing going with Mr. Magararu.
Love working with Brian. What he does with my photos is just amazing. And I don't think people realize how much he does. He does the weekly schedules. He'll do, he'll put together graphics for individual games,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. And not only that, I don't think a lot of people realize you're the one behind putting all those pictures up on billboards when we win state titles too. That was a real treat for me. Again, I live in Hanson, so I had to take a special ride through Abington, come up around 18 just to drive through and see my photos up on a billboard.
That's always fun for the team, and I'm glad you enjoyed it all.
Oh, and I'll admit, I did that circle quite a few times just to see it.
Well, if you're
Might
not
have pulled
sure,
over and taken a little picture.
if you're not sure what we're talking about, I have a tradition that when a team like the football team, the softball team wins
Basketball.
the basketball state championship, I arranged to get it up on the billboard at the Abington-Weymouth line on Route 18, and that's always been something. It's special for a small school like this to have such success, but to have the ability to document the success just elevates everything for us. So for that, again, we're just so appreciative. We asked you, when knowing that you were going to be on the show, to bring some of your favorite photos or some of the photos that you thought represented some of the good memories that you've had. And we want to take a minute and look at these and ask you to kind of tell us the story behind the story, or why you appreciate it. And there's one of your favorite groups of people.
This one in particular, this just happened last year. Most of the photos that I pointed out were older, but this one I really liked. The softball team asked to have a picture taken with me in it. And then at the end of the year, they had it framed and they all signed it and gave it to me on senior night. I think it was senior night when they gave it to me, that was really one of the moments that makes what I do worth it.
Yeah.
I just love that. I have that on my wall right over my desk, so I see that as I'm editing photos every day.
It is wonderful because, you know, you and a lot of the other volunteers I work with say, like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? So when a kid says thank you, it's like paying us $1,000. You know, it
really is.
That's what makes it worth it, is to know that that kid sees it and appreciates it and has the maturity to say something about it. It just makes you want to go back out there and do it again for the next kid, because every kid is going to be a superstar at something at some point, and we just hope we catch it on film one way or the other.
And I mean it when I say it. I hope you're all out there downloading these photos. Hold on to them. Save them. 20, 30, 40 years from now, you're going to want to see those photos. You're going to want to show them to people.
Especially this team that you got up there right now. That was that was a thrill in the history of Abington High School, playing at Boston Garden.
Yes, it was. And then we all came down with COVID right after that photo was taken, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that was difficult. I remember being very, very ill on the bus ride in for that game. But I think that's the one.
Yeah, that's the game that
Snowden Academy.
Right, and they won this game, which was technically the state semifinal, and the state final was canceled because of COVID 2 days later. But that was also the come from behind thrilling finish and just unbelievable game.
Was that the one with Will Klein's three-pointer at the buzzer?
I believe. Can we go back to that one? I think.
I always get those two teams mixed up.
I do too. I'm looking at who's on there out there.
I should have sent you the Will Klein.
Yeah, there's Klein's right there, and it's in Cam and McGuire. Great game. That might be the year previous to that, because I'm looking at the age of some of those guys.
Yeah.
But again, we're fortunate to be both years that we're confusing. Yeah, we're confusing our years now.
More or less the same team.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And outstanding and great coaches there. And there's a lacrosse shot, just another action shot.
That's Hunter Grafton, and that's not just any shot. That was actually his 100th goal.
That's awesome.
I remember Peter texting me before the game asking me if I was coming. I was actually already there. And I was just down in the end zone because I wanted to get that shot. And it just, there were all these players in the way, and then it just opened up, and there he was taking that shot. So I was able to get a good
Right
picture
place,
of
right
that.
time.
Yeah, it worked out well.
A little piece of history there, the first 100-goal scorer. And there's two familiar guys on the faces of Abington sidelines.
Yeah, if you've been to an Abington football game at any time in the last, I don't know, 20, 50 years, you've seen at least one of those guys in the last 50 years. And I don't know how long Frank's been coming, but I'm sure it's been a very, very long time. Frank is your resident superfan.
That's what we call him. Frank Baxter on the right is called Superfan. All the kids know him. He's there at every football game. And then, of course, head coach Jim Kelleher, who just retired after 50 years of being a head coach. Just mainstays of Abington football, and they're still there at every game now, both now as fans. Just tremendous. There's a nice shot down at Gillette Stadium.
That was the 2019 football team?
Yep.
The thing that amazed me about that team was the poise. When they walked out onto that Gillette field, I thought they were going to be, I was nervous for them.
Yeah.
They walked out there, they were all business, they were ready to go. The lights were not too bright for them.
I can see Will Klein and Gabe Spry and Colby
Oh,
Augusta.
yeah, Colby.
Seamus. That was just tremendous game. Again, the kids getting the opportunity to play.
Landers and Cristoforo.
Yep.
Oh, they were all, what a great team. Really nice bunch of young men.
Here's one of your trademark shots.
I take that picture before every game. I don't know if anybody notices it when they go through the game photos. This was that was in the rain at Silver Lake last week.
Yep.
Or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Game. Yep.
That was a fun night. That was a lot of fun.
Every night is fun, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Here's another great action shot of Abington football.
That was a playoff game against Seekonk, maybe around 2016.
Wow.
Somewhere around there. I just liked that shot. The Enterprise photographer was very close to me at that point, and they had a very similar shot that they put on the front page.
Yeah, that one could have made front page than anyone else. I recognize those faces. That's the state champion softball team in 2018.
That was some very happy faces.
Lauren Kelleher holding the flag there.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing team. They were so good.
Bus ride turning into the high school. And this is just an outstanding. This has not been doctored or altered. This is Bill Marquardt's shot. Tell us about this photo.
That was actually during a scrimmage during the pandemic, as of course you can tell by the masks on everybody.
Yeah.
The scrimmage was going on, and I saw the sky burning, as I put it. And I asked Kate, and she goes, "Yeah, we can stop the scrimmage now." So we pulled everybody in real quick. The V formation was her idea, and by that I mean the head coach, Kate Casey.
Yeah.
So she got them into the V, and we had maybe a minute and a half to get the photo right. And I just had the goalie throw the ball up, and it all just came together. Yeah, that was one click.
That's frameable, you know. And again, if you want to download or look at any of these other photos, we have more to show you. But the website is C6BillPhoto. C, the letter C, the number 6, BillPhoto.com. C6BillPhoto.com.
You just go into the sports folder from there, and don't forget the archive. There's a lot of older stuff in there.
Wow.
Going all the way back to I think there's even some stuff in 2013 at Pembroke and Silver Lake and things like that I did.
And here's some other stuff that I think you do. This is great how you also take some photos of some of our drama productions at Abington High School.
Love the drama productions. It's amazing how good they are. If you've never seen one of their shows, go see one or even watch it online. Kevin can tell you how to get to all of that. But they're just amazing, the work they've done. And even with Steve Shannon, who did all that, retiring, they've kept it up. They're doing a great job.
The talent at Abington High School is amazing.
It's very challenging for all of us because of the lighting for the stage. The reds, the blues, the greens that all come in. But it's so much fun. I mean,
it's just crystal clear. It's a great photo.
Thank you.
And this is impressive. A red-winged blackbird.
Yes, that's how you know spring is coming.
Yeah.
I do most of my walking at Burridge Pond in Hanson and Halifax, and I love seeing those come because then I know the warmer weather's on its way.
Good to know.
That one was very cooperative. I just happened to catch it as it was jumping off of that bush.
How long does it take you to get that photo?
That photo there, I was walking, and I might have taken 3 clicks.
Really?
But how many times have I tried to get that photo? Oh, probably a few.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to be patient as a photographer and lucky.
You really do. And I just like to walk anyways. It clears my head.
I love this view, and tell us what you were looking at.
That is a very young American bittern, and for some reason that particular one liked watching me watch it. And it was probably 10 or 12 days in a row, it would be in that same spot, and it would sit there and watch me while I was watching it.
Really?
So finally I got the right lighting conditions and nobody in the way, not too windy, and I was able to get the shot I was looking for, and
just the
wanted
eyes
to get both eyes.
Yeah, and the eyes are amazing, and just, you know, the camouflage is just framed right in the middle, like it's just almost a symmetrical photo. It's beautiful.
That was one of those birds that I'd been looking for years and couldn't find. You could always hear them, but you'd never find them. Now they're breeding there,
wow.
So there's a lot more of them.
And here's something that sometimes you don't hear, but they hear you coming before you see them.
If you get up and you go walking around sunrise, you'll see them. If you're there an hour later, you'll never see them.
Now, how far away are you from this deer?
In that case, I was probably 50 to 70 feet away, and they'll freeze, and they'll just watch me.
Yep.
And
Are you a threat or not?
Exactly. And I get my shot real quick, and I move along. I don't want to just stand there and, you know, make them run.
Yep.
You know, I'll just be on my way once I get my shot.
A beautiful shot.
Thank you. Those are sandhill cranes, and again, all of these nature photos, they're taken at Burridge Pond. Love walking there.
It's just great how, you know, you have the birds in the foreground are crisp, clear, and then you have the background, you know, blurry. Just has a great, like, two-dimensional, three-dimensional look there.
It was fun. I was walking along, and one of them landed, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'm going to get a picture of it. Stood there for another 30 seconds. Here comes one more, and then 4 more behind it. So, okay, I get that shot.
Awesome shot. And then nice shot of an eagle.
That is a juvenile bald eagle. I will admit it's photoshopped a little. There was a branch going straight across it. I did take the branch out.
So you must do a little research on some of these things that you get your photos of, like what is that bird or whatnot?
I have an app for it,
yeah,
and I have to look them up. I would say at least once a week I'll come across something I don't know what it is. Last week it was a red admiral moth.
Huh.
No idea what it was.
And you start learning the habits and when the deer are out and when the birds are going to be
the timing
flocking.
of it, the season that they're coming.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. That is just a sunrise photo from a place in Duxbury that's just near and dear to my heart. That was a special day.
I love the color, but I also love the framing of the tree in the foreground.
That one, it's funny. I tried taking that picture. Like I said, it was a special day in my heart, and I brought my camera with me to get the picture, and I just couldn't get it right on the back of the camera, and I kept looking at it, and I kept looking at it, and I knew that color was going to go away. I pulled out my iPhone and took one last click of it, and I ended up with the keeper shot. Yeah.
Wow. See,
Yep.
see kids out there, keep trying.
Oh, you can take some nice photos with an iPhone.
Amazing. Now, and this is what Brian Magararu and Bill Marquardt provide for Abington High School. We have 2 samples of it. That's a compilation of some of Bill's photographs, and then Brian puts the schedule and the background graphics and the Green Wave Athletic logo. And this is what Abington High School uses to promote these student athletes.
Brian makes that stuff look easy. It's not as easy.
No, and there's time put into it. And there's another one there for, he does this for each of the games and different seasons. And again, he gets the faces of all the girls here out on social media. So just proud parents, excited kids, and we all look forward to each game.
And he does all the banners for the senior nights.
Right.
Which I love seeing those. I always take pictures of the banners, which is weird taking a picture of my pictures. But
Bill, I mean, again, it's just all the kids know you, the parents know about you, everyone sees you, but they never have a chance to talk to you, or very rarely have a chance to talk to you. So we are thrilled that you were able to and willing to spend some time to get people to learn a little bit more about the man behind the lens. And I just can't thank you enough on behalf of the families for so many, 10 years, but that's going to be generations of photographs that they can show.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoy it, and everybody's been great, especially the kids. They're just amazing. I love working with them. They all love having their picture taken too. Every now and then you'll get a few that aren't at the beginning.
Yeah.
Once they see the pictures, they're like, oh yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, and this is good, and
Yeah.
it helps promote everything. And I agree with you. If I had a chance and can work with young kids and stuff, love it. It's a lot of fun. And you're just another one of the volunteers that makes it happen. And if you at home want to be a volunteer that makes it happen in some way, whatever you want to do. I mean, we have people that are volunteering in chain gangs. We have people volunteering to clean up after games. People that, as we've talked about in the past, we've done construction projects. A little more difficult nowadays because of the current, the state laws about building on public property. But that's just a hurdle that we will overcome. We just one more thing that we will work through. And Abington has a great reputation of community involvement and giving back and reinvesting in the community, both financially right now through the Community Preservation Act, which has been a wonderful thing for Abington, and just families and businesses and friends that say, yes, I want to help this because it's good for the community, it's good for the safety of the kids or for the convenience of the parents. And people have great ideas, and we try to take advantage of it and kind of build on each idea to make what more can we do to make this exciting. But the best thing you can do is to be in the stands and be a fan and cheer on the kids. And when you see Bill Marquardt, now you can go up there and shake his hand because you know all the good things that he does. So Bill, again, I want to thank you very much. Let me shake your hand right now for everything you've done and continue to do for the folks here at Abington High School. And thank you for joining us here on The Buzz.
Thank you, Sean. It was my pleasure.
All right. Well, that's it for this show. We're going to wrap this one up, but we got a couple more weeks of exciting action in the fall season, and I'm sure we'll be giving you an update in the near future because we'll be in the playoffs before you know it. And hopefully we will see you either at the volleyball court or on the soccer pitch or the football field or wherever you have a chance to swing by. Whether you have a kid on the team or not, we don't, but we go to these games. It's a great night out, and it's an exciting night and a great place to meet some people. So hopefully we'll see you there during the rest of us Green Wave Nation at the football fields, at all the fields I just mentioned. And we hope you will tune in a future edition of The Buzz. Thanks for tuning in. 4th and 15. At about the 28. Shotgun again for Mike Riley. See if they blitz. They do show blitz right up the middle. Contained pretty well. He's going to go to the end zone. He's got a man underneath. And
what a catch! What a catch! What a touchdown! Touchdown! Made Muskegon!
Ryan Solomini.
Wow!
Just went well. An over-the-shoulder diving grab in the end zone. We'll watch the replay on Abington Cable. Michael Riley just feathered that one in there.
Wow, what a play.
You see Riley fading back, and then he just leads Solomini, and Solomini never gave up on the ball. He gets behind the back, the defensive back,
what
and
a
just
catch.
Lays out. Beautiful grab.
Catch. What a throw, too. Beautiful throw. And he had a little pressure there. The line did enough just to give him enough time. So nice job by the Green Wave all around there. Nice drive. Good sustained drive starting from their own 35.